All right, we're out here with Joe Walsh here, the lone vet.
It is very cold. However, we're in a good mood. We're looking forward to the Occupy and closing down the shorelines and the depots and all along the West Coast. It's going to go all the way from San Diego all the way up into Washington.
Alaska.
I didn't know about Alaska. That's really cool. So everybody is getting involved. If you can, there's 2 shifts that they're talking about. One at 8 o'clock. They want you there about 6. And there's another shift going. I think it's a 4 o'clock shift. So you can go there. How you doing?
And this is on Monday, right? The 12th.
This is on Monday. So this is good stuff, all up and down the East Coast. And my understanding is that the East Coast also is joining. So that's really good. People are getting together, they're getting organized, they're waking up, they're realizing they can't escape what's going on. People have been able to stay away from what's going on now for 10 years, but now it is so entrenched in our government that it's touching everybody. So everybody's feeling it. One of the issues that we're working on, Individuals for Justice, and other people are also working on this because of what happened with the horses. We have police using horses to move crowds from one side of the street to the other side, pushing them off the sidewalk into the street. It is an outrage. You got to think about this. These are animals. These are beautiful, beautiful animals. And we, as human beings, are forcing them to hurt other human beings. Why do we do that? You know, we're supposed to have such a terrible shortage of money. Retire the horses. Find a good place for them and retire them. And those cops that ride those horses and you force those horses to hurt human beings, shame on you. Shame on you that you do that. Now, the big excuse is that horses are nice, they're good PR, that the kids like to pet them and stuff. That's not what they're used for, ladies and gentlemen. We are forcing those horses to hurt people. It rains here in Portland, 50-60% of the time. These streets are very slippery. And they're using those horses, and just Google police horses injured. You will be shocked.
Horses falling and getting hurt?
And getting hurt, being pushed into people responding. Those legs are very delicate on those horses. They may look big and strong, but those legs are very delicate. And what would happen if a horse fell and broke a leg, and they would have to execute the horse right there? Ladies and gentlemen, call City Hall and tell them get rid of those horses and find a good place for them. They've earned their keep. They've done their job. Let them retire.
You know, Joe, I've seen the last time the horses were called out, not the last time, well, the last time they were called out was on Chase Bank, and they tromped right in on all the protesters and pushed everybody right out into the street. I mean, they just, peaceful protest on the sidewalk, big, huge horses pushed everybody into the street. Then they came and said to get out of the street. But before that, they came to the big eviction night, and when those horses ran into the crowd of people, it caused like chaos. It just caused chaos, and I hear even an officer fell off one of the horses. I don't know if that's true, but I think an officer did fall off a horse during this chaos. That happened another time, too, when the horses were brought out, when an officer was knocked off the horse.
Keep up the good work. Okay.
So we got police officers falling off of horses. We got potentially horses falling down themselves. We got people getting hurt from the horses. It's time to knock this stuff off. These horses aren't to be used for violent crowd control.
You know, I asked one of the candidates that's running for city council, Steve Novick, about this, and his answer to me is, you know, Joe, I never thought of it. I just never thought of it. And that's not a negative towards Steve. I didn't think about it either until we were doing protests in front of the Ninth Circuit. and they would bring the horses out every week, for whatever reason. They would bring them out. And finally, I said to one of the police officers that was riding the horse, I said, I always thought that a police officer and a horse, they would have a relationship. It's almost like friendship. Like
a dog
really protective of each other.
Yeah.
And what you do is you force that horse to go into a human being, whether they're sitting down or they're standing up. I think, what do you do with your brain? What do you do with your head when you do that to an animal? I mean, I would never do that to an animal. I'm not crazy about. I'm not an animal rights person. I'm involved in other stuff. But for one human being to do that to an animal, for one human being to force a horse to hurt another human being, how do you do that with your head?
How can you live with yourself
How do you
doing
live
that?
with yourself?
Yeah.
How do you sleep?
And our question is, how is our city living with itself, doing this to our citizens?
Yeah, and the use of horses has been reviewed before, but I've never heard anybody thinking about the animal itself. It's just a cost factor. Maybe we can't afford to do this. Well, I'm going to add to the city, if any of the city officials sees this video, once you know that they are using those horses to jam into people, they put the horses at great risk. Now what do you do with your head there, Mr. Mayor? I know we're all busy and we don't think about all these things, but now that you know, what do you do with your head? Retire the horses, have a big ceremony, everybody will cheer, the horses will go in retirement, the police officers can now do their real duty as police officers and do something else. So then, Mr. Mayor, that would be your legacy. That Mayor Adams retired the horses and let them go. Let the horses go there, Sam.
Very well put, Joe. One more note, just when you mentioned about the safety of the horses. This last big protest on the chase, the N17, somebody smacked one of the horses too while they were all in the big scuttle going on. So I seen it in video footage. A man got knocked down by him, kind of, and he turns around and whacks the horse. And there's a case too. That horse does not need to be involved in that situation.
Yeah, the horse has no option. He has to do what he's told to do, and that brings shame to us. When I look at my companion at home, who's a dog, I wouldn't do that to her.
Yeah.
So, and I'm not a Roy Rogers cowboy kind of guy. But now that you know there, Sam, what a great thing to do before you leave.
Well, thanks for mentioning all this to me, Joe, and you being out here in the freezing cold. I see Barbara in the background over here.
Yeah, it is cold.
WPA, let's get some jobs.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, every once in a while you read something and somebody will say something about bringing back the WPA. I mean, we have the work. We have the workers to do it. Why don't we just do it?
Right on. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Have a good weekend.
Okay.